I'm Nu-Trix from Montreal, Canada, and today we're looking into Rob Papen latest bundle. It's called Explorer-10. It has 33 plugins plus legacy plugins, so about 40 some plugins. Well, most of them are synthesizers. You also have some drum machines, and you have effects also. And some of the synthesizers also appear as effects because they have cool effects, and you can go through the synthesizer. So, real cool package for the synth head. Somebody who loves to make synthesizer sound. Of course, they have a lot of things that are similar because they have filters, envelopes, and all that stuff, but they all have one specific way of making sounds. I'm not going to go through all of them today. It's just too much. But if you want to have a tutorial on one of them, write in the comments and I will build a tutorial on one of them. But today I'll show you the new ones. You have RAW 2, which is a in-your-face, very aggressive synthesizer. And you have SynFex. It's an effects-oriented synthesizer. So it could be used for build-up and bridges between part of the songs, or simply effects, noises, and weird stuff. Let's just go in and listen to what they can do. So this the update version of RAW 1. More control, more features, a little more aggressive. If you look at all the synthesizers, they always have the same logic. You've got an oscillator section or a source section, in this case, 2 of them. Then going to the filter, you get the amplitude control, you get an EQ, you get the main LFO, which is global. You have play control, like how it's going to play, is it monophonic, polyphonic, all that stuff. And then you've got at the end effects like wave shaper, distortion, and lo-fi for each of the voices. Every time you press a key, you trigger all of this. And on top of that, you've got this section here at the bottom that changes if you want to switch between different windows. You've got ARP, you've got wave, you've got mod, you got effects, and you got path. Let's go back to oscillator, see what's different about the RAW from other synthesizers. RAW, basically, you've got, like you expect, an oscillator source. You can decide the shape of it, and you got classic one, sine, saw, square, triangular, white noise, pink noise. You got 2 user waves. Interesting, because when you go user waves, at the bottom here, you click on wave, and you can say user 1 or user 2, and then you can you're basically drawing the shape you want. So any shape can happen. So this is really, really interesting because right there, you're not limited to the traditional shapes that they have. And there's a ton of them you can load that start you on the right foot for looking like or sounding like a Moog or a 303. Now, what's also interesting in the RAW 2 is that this section is a raw control, basically. You control ways that RAW would distort the sound. So the amount of RAW that you have for each of them, plus the movement you can just like put it there if you want to. You can record that going like this and then play. So part of the RAW sound, you've got phasing changes. Sound a little bit like a sync happening, which is pretty cool. I like the sound. And they say that every time you change, doesn't do the same thing because each of the different waveform has its own set of raw controls. So this is the logic behind the raw. You have this control of how much raw you want, how fast you want it. And you click edit, and you can actually click and change it. Hear that twang happening at the beginning. It's like an envelope doing something. There's no envelope actually doing something right now. It's only the drawing in the raw and the XY control. So this is pretty cool. This is just the one. If you add the second one, also now, keep in mind that the second one can also be sync to the first one, or they can be different type of modulation. And let's say FM modulation for fun. And you bring that up. Because now I'm changing the raw of the oscillator 2 that is FM modulated to the first one. So if you put too much out of it, it's just going to distort and sounds weird. But you can really have that kind of aggressive tone right into it. Now, let's get rid of the pulse width for now. Decide how long the loop will be. The filter, of course, you want a filter. The amount of filters options you have here, the stuff you don't see often. A filter of 36 dB slope is very rare. It's going to cut very quickly. If you put the envelope on this, I'm really cutting. And the Q becomes really very high very quickly, and it brings down the rest of the volume. So it's part of the sound of it. But I like the raw sound. Now, to make it even more aggressive, you have this section here, the wave shape. And you can, let's say, if you go wave shape on and you put mix to the maximum right, you're only hearing the output of the wave shaper. And you can flip the high end or the low end. Let's say they call it top, that's in the high frequencies. Just a bit of it. In the bottom, we can rectify it. Let's say we're going to add a sub on this. The sub. We can rectify this. And then you can also say, I want it in between. This is without a wave shaper. With some of it. You have distortion, you have different type of distortion, and these are all different ones. And again, you can go halfway, and you also have that lo-fi. Very aggressive sounding synth. Then you have modulation here. You can say the source of modulation, whatever it is. It could be MIDI control. You control different section of it. You can modulate by using part of the synthesizer that sends to another part. So an envelope sending to, I don't know, a destination. So this is really, really like a huge modular synthesizer. Everything almost can be sent from one to the other. Really, really flexible as a matrix. So you have this, which is really cool for the modulation. And you have another envelope here, envelope 1 and M2, and LFO 1 and 2, and you can use them here. You get effects. You can have another distortion. That would be distortion, modulation, delay, reverb, and a gator. So a lot of control again here. And in the path, got filter, pre-EQ, wave shaper, distortion. You could move them if you want them. They're not going to change here physically. Filter, you could drop the filter after the wave shaper if you want. So there's different things you can change, and it's going to change the sound right away. And same thing for the effects. The effects being the one that you have here. You can change the order in which they're going through one into the other. So it will change a lot of the sound right here. You have this arpeggiator you can use here and create the step sequencer you want to control the notes, but also part of the synthesis, because you get free here, free 1 and 2. If you go back into modulation, remember that you have these options here, and you have the arpeggiator free 1 and 2, and be sources of modulation. So they can be used to go back here. These value here could control in a step control any type of control you have on screen. So it could be the filter, open it up and closing. So really, really, really complete and powerful. The other one that is interesting is SynFex. SynFex is a synthesizer for virtual effects. Now, it can be seen as just doing transition between song with build up and drops. It's easy because you can just, all of the control you have here are aimed for doing these effects. It looks different than what we used to. You have this big envelope, which is basically just a big either up and down or down and up or just up or just down. So, but you can click on it and design a different, you can snap to tempo if you want to. You can loop it. Okay, the speed of it. This is controlling the filter. And say it's going to be the pitch. But this is a noisy sound, so it doesn't really have a pitch. The movement of the volume, the panning. You go from left to right if you want to. You can control here. You have destination, so you can be controlling something else. So you can say, I want it to control the lo-fi mix, whatever it is. And you turn this on. Lo-fi, where's the lo-fi? Here we go. So another destination here, key tracking, filter, same logic, same amount of controls. What's different really here is this option of the movement you have, because really just that going down or going up or going up and down. So that transition, but mostly the noise here. You look, you have a noise, a tune noise. Now you hear the pitch going down. You have a sync noise. And you have a wave. It could be anything. You have the noise or just the wave. stub, or a sample. And in the sample, you can have hi-hats, percussive sounds, metal loops. You hear that bass going down. Some of them are, let's see, really sound effects, and others are transition. Remember, this is just the new stuff. On top of that, you have Albino 3. BIT2. Blade. Blue 3 with new banks of sounds. Go to X. You have power chord. Predator 3. Punch BD is the kicks mostly. Punch 2, complete drum kit with a lot of controls in it. Really powerful. Quad. Raw kick. So basically, it uses raw control to have that waveform with the harmonics and design the content you want. Really aimed at being in your face and distorted. sub-boom bass. And Vecto, which is a vector-based synthesis using 4 oscillators, and then you're moving between them. That's just for the synthesizer. If you go into effects, you get the Del Sane, so delay, low Sane, Master Magic, Predator Effects, Rev, Vocoder, and the amount of plugins you get in the bundle is just huge. So I find it's really an interesting plugin bundle. The price is right for the amount of stuff you get in it. It's a real cool option. There's so much in it that I still haven't got around learning everything. If you have any of these plugins, effects, or synthesizers or drum machine that you want me to do a tutorial about, write in the comments and I'll work on it, because there's just a huge amount of options here and I don't know which one to start with outside of which one I like. That's it. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.